Hey everyone, thank you for joining on this special video. We have ValCoins with us. Going to talk a little bit about crypto and how convenient of a time to talk about crypto when it's trying to rip. So, Val, thank you so much for joining to talk a little bit about your overall experience in the market, and then how you use TrendSpider's Trendlines and other features to kind of get an edge in the market. So, thank you for joining us.
Hello, Jake. I'm very happy to be here with you and to share my experience with the platform. It has been very pleasant, and I enjoy using it a lot.
Awesome. Thank you. So, a couple questions before we jump right into the charts. What spurred your interest in trading and technical analysis and getting into this whole crazy world of trading?
I began my trading experience, let's say, with crypto, not with the traditional markets. And it was somewhere in middle 2017, even though I heard about BTC in around 2015. I was just curious what it is and how it works. So I decided to buy my first BTCs uh, somewhere in August, September. And after, watching the markets for a while, I understood they don't just move randomly, but rather, reacting to different levels. So I was just very curious to learn more about that in order to be able to trade, right? All these moves and what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So then I found out about technical analysis and fundamental analysis and all that, and I just started learning, on my own.
That's usually the
So
best way to do it, because if you
yeah,
don't,
while
you.
observing the charts. So basically, whatever I learned in theory, right, from books or articles or different, let's say, even YouTube shows, less of those, but still, I would have to go back to charts and see, why exactly that happened and when and how and why the same setup in certain conditions would work, right? And sometimes when the conditions are wrong, it wouldn't. So on, it was very raw at the beginning, obviously.
Yep, and I think for everyone it's kind of like that, and that's what makes you the trader you are, and everyone kind of gets their own style from their own experiences. So that's awesome. What are you typically trading? Are you trading stocks as well now, or just crypto, or?
No, I trade stocks too. So basically, some of the stocks, not all of them. Then commodities. I also love trading gold, silver, oil, some currencies too, some exotic ones too, not only the major ones. So basically, I like trading it all after observing the chart for a while, right, to get like the right edge on the asset and the direction, how it moves, how volatile it is, and then once I see all that, I enter.
Love it. And do you kind of go back and forth between stocks and crypto just based on how volatile one or the other is?
No, I trade them at this point. I trade them both, regardless of the volatility.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting. Good to know. Well, so we got four charts on the screen right now, and let's just dive right
yeah.
into kind of how you're using TrendSpider. You've got the automated trend lines set up here, and can you walk us through some of these charts and just kind of exactly what you're seeing and how you're using the platform?
Sure. So one of my most favorite features on TrendSpider is this, so what you just said, the four screens. Why? Because it sets all of the most important time frames simultaneously on the same screen without me having to navigate from chart to chart to see, well, how the monthly looks, how the weekly looks, how the daily looks, and the smaller time frames, so on. So what I like about it is this. I see clearly like what's the long-term trend, and then the midterm, let's say the weekly, the shorter one, the daily action, and my trade would be based on the smaller time frames, 4 hours, or sometimes even the hourly chart.
Got it.
So yeah, of course you can also switch, to one chart only if you want a bigger screen. I don't know if you want to see the indicators better, that you would use. They appear at the bottom of the chart. We have the MACD here and the RSI. So, but I usually keep it on 4 screens, and if I have some work to do, that's the only time I switch to one chart screen.
Got it. And it's nice that everything kind of pops up there, so you don't necessarily have to draw your own trend lines. They're all there. And
well, another feature is the trends for sure. Well, often it happens that you draw the trend line and all looks right, but you can also be subjective.
Easily.
So this helps a lot. Yes, this helps a lot. It gives you and saves a lot of time. Let's start from there. Oh my God, time is very important for all the traders, especially if you trade more than just one asset. Yes, then time is a problem.
Very much so.
Yeah, this saves a lot of time.
So, is there a certain way you use the trend lines? For example, are you using some of these trend lines like as laggards? So maybe like the system's finding a trend line on a longer term chart, and you kind of look at different pairs and say, oh well, this trend line's been broken, and then maybe you look at Bitcoin and it hasn't necessarily been broken on the weekly yet. Is that one way that you're using it?
Well, the trend lines work also as, let's say, confirmation, right? I take my trades based on price action, but I also use the trend lines and the horizontal support and resistances as the levels of confirmation, of breakout, breakdown points, etc. You know, like for example, let's take this congestion on the 4-hour chart, right? That we had here, all this, I don't know, 5 trend lines, something, a lot of them, right?
Yep.
And when we had this breakout point, yes, it was very easy to observe this support resistance level that we have, right? This one here, right?
Yep.
This is the level where you could easily take, obviously, a long position based on the fact that we just broke out, right, of this, pretty obvious and hard down move that we had.
So you're looking for kind of like confluence of multiple resistance areas. So you're kind of looking to see, all right, is the system finding 3 or 4 resistance trend lines simply because probably you have a lot of people looking at those trend lines, and then when it breaks, you've kind of got that self-fulfilling prophecy?
Well, that could work too, yes, but usually, just from a technical point of view, once the trend line is broken and the price is holding above it, and it's obvious that we are doing a series of higher lows, right? We had some high highs here on the short term, right? It retested, everything held. It was obvious to take a long position here. This is just a technical thing to do too, not only a behavioral one.
Got it. And so when you're trading, you said you use a lot of price action. Are you ever looking for like particular crosses on moving averages or like MACD crosses, or how exactly do you look at the charts in as far as the lower indicators and the oscillators go?
Well, of course, yes, sometimes I look at the MACD, let's say. Obviously, if I want to enter a long position and MACD is getting ready to, cross to the positive, that is helpful. It gives you confidence. Of course, by the way, TrendSpider has the market scanner that would solve that. Also, a very, very useful tool. So, for the MACD, you just click on the market scanner. And let's say, we're talking about bull action here. So we'll go with the recent MACD bull crosses, right? For crypto specifically, let's choose Binance USD pairs. Here you can set what time frame is interesting you in particular. Let's put the 4-hour. Here, for example, any of the following. Let's leave the daily and let's add the weekly. And you just let's also take the current candle into consideration and click on scan. So right now, the scanner is showing you, right, where we have a bull cross on MACD.
Beautiful.
Pairs, I would say.
What is I think we talked about this
And it
fun.
keeps going.
What is this fun token at the top with 25% gain? Is that a
I think it's something game related. I have no idea to be sure. To be
fun?
honest, where fun is used. I've traded it, but I don't know exactly what it does.
Well, it sounds fun if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to see on the 4 hour that the price action is really right on that resistance area and respected it really nicely there.
Yes, yes. Look how beautiful the trend line here supports all the price action, right? And it gives you plenty of opportunities to enter the trade, giving you moves, really nice swings here. Very
Beautiful.
nice ones. Yeah,
And I'm
20%.
curious. It looks like the
20%.
it looks like the daily chart isn't fully updated. Let's. I'm curious what it catches
Yes.
there on the
By the
four.
way, to update when you have a situation like this, in order to update, you just hover your mouse here on this little green. Let's say it looks like the volume, but it's not. You just click refresh and lock, and it will update your trend lines uh,
Beautiful.
to the current price action that happened.
So right on the daily, that is clearly some resistance people are looking at. And I'll be
Yes, but it is breaking out of this basically horizontal resistance that we have here at this level.
Mhm.
So I think on the confirmation here, it will, break out.
I was gonna say, do you think this is alt season or is this just a full move in crypto across the board?
I don't know about the L season. Well, it definitely looks like it, especially we having L that are making thousands of percentages. But I always call for, being very, how should I say it, with your feet down on earth, right? Expecting every single coin to pull such moves is not realistic. I think people should consider, some decent gains and at least follow up with their stop losses if they don't want to book profits. The trend lines would help you, in that direction too. If you entered the trade here for this particular, coin, for example, for fun, obviously you should move your stop loss, where the trend line was broken, because if it goes below, it can easily revisit here or even break down, let's say, So this is another use of the trend lines. You would know where to trail your stops.
Beautiful. And so I guess the next question is, do you have like 5 coins that you trade over and over, or will you kind of trade whatever the chart gives you?
Well, I do trade, let's say, over and over the majors and BTC. So I would usually trade BTC, Ether, let's say even EOS, NEO, OMG, LTC, Bitcoin Cash. I would trade these ones almost, let's say, pretty consistently, like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, because I have my list updated here, right? I would just go to Binance USD pairs. If I'm not satisfied with what I find through the scanner, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would just make the market review for myself every morning and see, how everything looks. If I see a good setup, this is when I enter. And this is why I said TrendSpider is so good, because it already has all this trend lines drawn, and if I include the auto-fibs as well, right? The price has come down. Let's say even here on what's this main frame. Okay, so we revisited the zero point 0.5 fib. You could have easily taken a position here, right, for a
Mm-hmm.
small bounce.
Do you mind putting on the full screen on that? Because I'm curious to see kind of how those. Because I mean that literally is Oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean literally
Take
perfect.
down the bounds, it can revisit the zero point 0.5 or come down here to 618. which would also be, a bounce point again. You know, if you go on smaller time frames, but this is for scalpers, um, it's even better. The trend lines are very precise. Look how beautiful you would have found here your setup on the hourly chart, right?
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Yes,
And
it's just beautiful to work with.
so are you? So you mentioned you're usually entering on the 1 hour or the 4 hour.
Yeah, the 4 hour or the 1 hour, exactly.
Got it. Awesome. So as far as kind of I'm jumping more into your side of the business, what you know can you tell us a little more about your community and kind of how you give calls in case anyone who's watching this video is interested in learning more about your room?
Well, I usually discuss, the market conditions. All the members are aware of the long-term expectations. Of course, if things change, I also change my point of view. I don't get stuck, in a single direction.
Mm-hmm.
The calls are put out like very clear setups. I don't just put out the chart and I say, well, we entered somewhere here, and we take profits somewhere here. Because yeah, most of my members are busy people with life jobs, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't rely on my services necessarily because they want to make some huge crazy gains. Rather, they want to know clearly, right, what the market conditions are and where exactly at what price they should enter and where exactly they should take their profits. So the setups I just put, this, let's say it's for BTC. So for example, it is buy BTC between 9,200, 9,300. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the buy zone where we usually letter a few entries, 4 of them. Uh, then you have the full size position, and the take profits that are lettered. I usually use 5 take profits. It doesn't give me the highest return right on the investment, correct? But this is the strategy that I developed and helps me monitor all these trades, and enter multiple trades at the same time because I'm going from trading into compounding somehow at one point, and all the profits and the capital that is released from the trade after it hits target one goes into another trade.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a machine at one point with a lot of trades, but they are all under control because one of the things that I do, again, as I suggested to before during our conversation, that people should move their stop losses, based on the trend lines, for example, all the fib levels that you can easily see here on the platform. I always move my stop loss at least to my entry after target one is hit.
Love
So
it.
I always try to make all of the trades risk free after a point. The condition for me is for target one to be hit.
Love it. And so, I think you mentioned laddering. For those that don't know exactly what laddering is, can you explain a little more about that? What your scaling in process?
Yeah, well, laddering in and laddering out. This is what I was talking about, about until now. Laddering in is in the buy zone. You want, for example, to long. Let's leave the leverage aside because leverage is very confusing to a lot of people. They somehow think that, well, they think other. They are not. They don't have realistic expectations, and I think a lot of people don't understand what leverage means, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would just explain it on spot position. This spot position means no leverage. So, for example, you want to long, let's say, 10 Ether, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you buy 10 Ether by lettering 2.5 Ethers at $250. The buy zone is 250 to 60, let's say. 2.5 ethers at 253, 2.5 at 256, and 2.5 ethers at 260, right? So when the price comes down, right, you get filled. And this is your entry. And laddering your exits is exactly what I was talking about, those 5 targets, right?
Hmm.
So on the full size position, these 10 ethers are exited 2 at each time. So 2 at $280, 2 ether at $300, so on. This is laddering out.
Got it.
This, this is the concept.
It's interesting. A lot of people don't realize that scaling in and scaling out, or laddering, is a way to really allow you to allocate your buys over multiple prices. A lot of people don't realize if you go in with a full 10 ether position right away, you have no I don't want to say leverage, but you have no flexibility on
Yeah.
where you're scaling in. So it's one of those things that, with laddering and scaling in, you're actually sometimes wanting the price of the stock to go down after you buy it, so you can buy more at a cheaper price. And then if
Yeah.
if you buy that one single position, you're pretty much out of ammo, and that
Yeah. You're
that's
very stressed and you don't give yourself. I think betting everything on one card, something like that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a way to kind of reduce the risk and across the transactions. But no, that's really good. So as far as while we wrap this up, I just want to make sure everyone is able to kind of find your Twitter handle and all that. Can you tell everyone a little more about where they can find your community and all of that?
Well, the only place I'm on is on Twitter, and I only have one account. It's ValCoins. And besides that, I have the site, which was mainly built to show our performance, right, for the track record. I intend to post more content on it, but it's extremely hard with me being, alone trading and managing the group and everything. I just don't have so much time. Um, so besides that, these are the only 2 places.
Awesome. And you mentioned, I think you have a Telegram is kind of how everyone is able to chat and communicate.
Yes, yes. Telegram is where I have the member chat. I'm very, very active there. So yes, when members have questions, or when I explain something, or when I show a setup and teach a few of the things, right? Why we are entering, or why that happened, or why this is what we expect to happen. We do that, yes, in the member chat. Correct.
Awesome, very cool. Well, is there anything else you'd like to go over before we end the video? We've gone over a ton of different things: auto-fibs, auto trend lines, the scanner. That's the one thing about the scanner that's nice is you didn't even have to really go and create your own scan for a MACD cross. It was already built in, and so that's one of the things TrendSpider does offer is these built-in scans. So you're not going to find every single scan that you want. You're sometimes going to have to create your own, but we have created some predefined scans that kind of help you find some of those more generic, like golden crosses, death crosses, MACD crosses, those things that a lot of people are looking at. And a lot of the time those types of things become self-fulfilling. And what I mean by self-fulfilling is really, so many people are looking at the cross that it creates a new status quo in the market where buyers come in or sellers come in all at the same time because they're essentially looking at the same thing.
Well, in my opinion, TrendSpider has a lot of tools. I don't think anyone needs to create a new scanner. There are a lot of, yeah, it's enough to just go to
Yep.
what you guys already put in here. You can find like everything here. The simple moving averages, bull cross or bear crosses, death crosses and golden crosses, like you said, the MACD, the RSI, Bollinger Bands. I don't know, everything you can think about is basically here. There is no need to create anything else. There are a lot of useful tools, from indicators to alerts that you can set on patterns, who likes, I don't know, different type of patterns like the hammer on the daily, or the bullish engulfing, or the bearish engulfing, or I don't know, the evening star, the morning star. Everything is here. You can create an alert easily. It is really, really easy to do. Like, for example, I don't know, you just pick click on the alert, and you click what you would like for you to alert you for, the indicator, or the fib level, etc., the pattern, everything, so in my opinion, people just need to spend some time and get familiar with the platform, and once they use it for a little while, they'll see how helpful it is, and how much time it saves them, and how much profit it makes them at the same time, right?
Absolutely. One thing I was going to mention, I think some people are probably scratching their head. These red and green circles, those are essentially areas that the price has either broken to the downside or to the upside. So if you're
Yeah.
watching this video, these are not buy or sell signals. This is simply just showing where the price action is interacting with these lines.
Well, after they experience for a while, they could understand that it is not a buy signal, correct? But after you learn some technical analysis, and you see on daily that you have a broken horizontal here, right, trend line,
Hmm.
and you have the retest, it was obviously a buy
Yep.
on the pullback on this beautiful, daily hammer dragon. I can see it, hammer.
Beautiful.
Look at this beautiful, beautiful returns, like huge.
And I'm looking at so this is tether. So it
300%.
is wow.
Yeah,
Is that
300%. It was not small, it was huge. And by the way, by these fibs, right? Also, people that are a little bit more familiar with how to use fib extensions, right? You can easily see where your take profit areas would be. So, let me pull it. So, yeah, even here, if you would have exited at this fib here, it would have been more than fine, giving you, hold on, 250%.
oh, hate when
Yeah.
that happens. So when it says so this is just mainframe versus tether. Are these priced in satoshis, or is this actually US?
This is in USD.
Okay,
Uh,
got it.
this you are trading towards like basically USDT, which is USD in theory. You know,
Got it.
that's another topic.
Yeah, it's always interesting to talk to you guys who trade crypto, because as much as I watch the charts, I generally am just watching BTC, Ethereum, Chainlink, and if Ripple ever wants to move one of these days, if they don't keep diluting that, those are the ones I pay attention to. So it's always interesting to see kind of some of these other what you called exotic kind of coins and different pairs that people don't always look at.
Yes, no, I usually keep an open mind, and I trade everything. I'm there every day. It's not like I don't see them. Even I'm not familiar with a lot of fundamentals on them. For me, it is enough to just observe and, read the chart. And that's it. I take the trade. I don't need to know what every coin is doing.
Well, and the thing is, I think which makes technical analysis nice is if you add the fundamental perspective in there, you kind of have another variable that you have to make decisions upon, which sometimes will hurt your trade rather than help it. So it's like the setup looks great, and then you look at the fundamentals and you're like, I don't know, but
Yeah.
look at Tesla. I mean, Tesla, if you look at the fundamentals, you would have never bought this thing, anywhere near what the price is. So a lot of the time, fundamentals are great, but if you're looking at just simply the chart, you're able to kind of get rid of some of that subjectivity and bias that you may apply when you are looking at the fundamentals as well.
Yes, I completely agree with you.
And that's the thing about these coins. They're all some type of little project, and if you dive too deep into the rabbit hole of all the crypto projects out there, you'll probably want to like buy all of them for some particular reason, which you can't do, or I guess you could do, but it's better to focus on the setup, focus on the technicals. If you if I love to kind of relate trading with poker. I mean, or even blackjack. I mean, if the setup is there, you hit. That's just the way it
Yeah,
is. It's not like, oh, the setup's there, but I'm having a bad day. That's just not how it works. You take the hit, or you take the trade, whatever game, or in this case trade you're taking. And that's how technical analysis really is supposed to work. I remember learning in school. They I think they said, what did they call TA? Just like, I think they just said chartists. Chartists don't even look at the fundamentals. Generally, they don't even know what the company does.
yeah,
Generally it's like, okay, well, whatever they do, it's setting up. And
yeah.
sometimes the technicals and the fundamentals can be very, very different things and have some discrepancies. So definitely good to know that you're really just trading on those setups, and whatever looks good, you trade it. And definitely really appreciate you jumping on to show everybody a lot of different ways to use the platform. Automated trend lines, as you can see, are a game changer. And just to mention one thing about automated trend lines, they're not there to replace what you're doing. They're there to almost be an idea generator, a way to say, well, I'm not necessarily sure what exactly I want to be looking at here. You essentially have the system draw some of these areas for you, and then you're able to then add your discretion to the chart without necessarily having the system do everything for you. It's there to be kind of a complementary tool for you, rather than just something that replaces your analysis.
After anybody uses the platform for, let's say, a week, to get familiar with and really comfortable with all the indicators and all the features on the platform, I can assure you they will have a very hard time living, because it is very helpful. It saves you a lot of time, and it takes out a lot of your bias, and it shows you exactly what is happening, and you're not drawing, okay, I think here something, or maybe this here, and let's cut all the wicks, let's cut all the bias, things like that, which a lot of traders tend to do.
Yeah, it's really easy to it's funny when you're over leveraged, or you're in a big position that you become emotional about. It's funny how every stock looks like it's going to be the next Apple, or every
Yeah,
or whatever chart you're looking at. It's really easy to apply that bias, and then you're seeing what you want to see. And then this allows you to really kind of open your mind a little bit and say, oh, that's a perspective I didn't even think about. And so that's one
yeah.
of the things about trading. You have to be open. You have to have different um, ways to look at a chart. You can't just say, these are my trend lines and these are the best out there. There's always going to be another perspective. And really, at the end of the day, that's what moves the market. Everybody has a different perspective. That's why when you're buying, somebody's selling. If everybody had the same perspective, we wouldn't have a market, because everybody would be doing the same thing.
Yes, it would either wouldn't move, or it would just move in one direction only.
Yeah, exactly. So, really appreciate your time, Val. It's just at ValCoin or coins on Twitter, right? In case anyone wants to check out your page and see some of
Yes,
your work.
at ValCoins.
At ValCoin. So we'll put that in the description in this video. And if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to reach out or comment below. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and we will definitely be doing more videos about this. Last thing before we go, Val, if you were to say, in 6 months, where is Bitcoin and some of these others going to be from a percentage perspective? Do you see Bitcoin being, so what's today, the 23rd of July? Do you see Bitcoin being up in the next 6 months, down? What's your perspective on that? Obviously, nobody knows. Just for those that are watching that are curious, what is your take on that?
To be honest, until now I was a little bit more bearish on BTC, but on how things are developing, I think it has a lot of chances to keep going up. I don't know about new highs, or some crazy prices. As I said, I'm keeping my expectations pretty realistic, but I think it has a chance to go above 11K, maybe even, yes. and why not revisit last year, around 14K where we were in July, I think. Yes, July, 1 year ago. I think it is possible by the end of the year to get there. I'm not sure how long we'll stay there or if we'll stop there. All that I can be sure of, with more price action. So the bigger the picture, the easier for me to, make some conclusions. But right now, at this point, the market is obviously trending up. It's not a, down moving market. And I think a lot of optimism and positivism is in the market. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and we got inflation blasting off too, so
Oh,
that can't hurt.
that's
That can't
also
hurt as well.
helpful for
Yes.
crypto.
Oh man. Well, Val, thank you so much for your perspectives, your lesson on how you use TrendSpider, and I am looking forward to hopefully having you on the Sunday show here soon.
Sure, sure. I would love to join you again, and it was a pleasure talking to you.
Alrighty, everyone, thank you for watching. Val, have a great one, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
You too. Bye.